Welcome to Two Bros One Show podcast. My name is Jacob. I'm older brother. This is my little brother Sean, and this is our guest James, or he goes by you. I'll let Sean do his little introduction, and we'll pass it to James.
Do my introduction?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Just who you are.
I mean, everyone knows my name is Sean. 20-year-old college student. It's his younger brother. And then, of course, you got Jacob, father, entrepreneur. Just kidding, he's a worker. But yeah. And then we got James. Go ahead and introduce yourself, James.
How's it going, man? My name is James. Artist name is you. Artist or artist. I do a lot of different things. I'm a father, first and foremost. I have music. I do modeling. I do maintenance as well. I've just joined the volunteer firefighters department in Geneva, Alabama. So the whole goal is always to help as many people, save as many people as possible. So that's what we do.
Yeah, that's sick, man. So we were talking before the podcast. Can you just give some information on modeling? Let's go ahead and hit that.
Man, I don't know. It's different, Like I'm about 3 years into it now. It's definitely a whole different kind of environment than what you may feel like it would be. Of course, you have your traditional, like, attractive type people, physically, I guess, attractive type people where they have certain things to look for, where they want, like, tall people or slender people or, whatever the case may be. But there's always some kind of theme that they want depending on which model they pick for it. So it's never like if somebody's like, oh, I want a model, but I don't have this or this. There's guaranteed to have some kind of something that person can fit into, whether it be some niche or some specific theme that they're driven towards. Just like everybody knows an actor that pretty much plays the same role on everything they do. Like if it's a rough cop kind of thing from like a city or inner city place, it's probably Mark Wahlberg. Like there's always something that you could fit somebody into something. Is people that do have, like I mentioned before, as far as like, have the physical aesthetics for it, yes, that is cool, but you have other things that weigh into it. Your ability to like follow instruction or be able to collaborate with the photographer or the people that are involved with it. As a male model, making sure that you can, if you're shooting with a female model especially, is to make sure that she's comfortable, because your pictures, as much as you want your shots and your look to be great, making sure that she's comfortable is super important, because if both of you are comfortable in a safe and positive environment, then it definitely is going to make out for a better session and the more increased likelihood of it to be more sessions to follow. Sometimes as guys, we kind of don't pay attention to the amount of things that a female may process throughout her regular day-to-day life, as far as safety concerns or things that may cross through her mind. And I say that because I am 100% guilty of that at times, and having a daughter and having other females and ladies in my life, that it's important to kind of understand their perspective and the things that affect them in a way. But most definitely important to make sure that if you are shooting with a female model, lady model, female model, however you want to say it, it's important that she feels comfortable and that she doesn't feel threatened or anything while you're there, because you don't want to just take your time and an opportunity to dictate how it goes, because nobody likes being controlled or put in situations where they feel less than or feel like they're taken for granted or not being heard. So, but all in all, it's really cool. You get a chance to travel around, meet different people, work with different individuals. You work with I work with a lot of different photographers. You get a chance to, try different things, create different things in a moment. A split capture moment. You get a chance to potentially tell one story or more stories with one still image. So it's a really cool thing to kind of like get involved with and get a chance to grow and learn more with.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Jacob.
No, I was talking to Hazel. Sorry. No, so you were saying you was an artiste or an artist, is what you said.
Yeah, artist.
Artist, like Ron. Okay. Only a few people will get that one.
Yeah, but it's like his, but it's also, when you think of an artist, it's our test. Like, it's a test for us, because in the process of you creating something or us creating something, it's also to see how are you going to use the position that you've been given. Because you can use, everybody knows an artist that maybe you use your stance to, maybe it's a vengeance driven thing. Maybe it's a, now I'm here, now I'm going to take advantage. Some people don't want to be oppressed until they can become the oppressor, you know. It's really just kind of depends on how you're going to treat people once you get a chance to have that kind of platform or that kind of stance, or how you're going to use your influence versus how you were influenced.
That's very well spoken.
Yeah, that's sick.
So, you know, of course, I know your music, but people out there may not know who you are, and I know some of the people. So, explain like R&B. What do you do, and how do you find your stuff?
Man, I'm a big fan of music in general. I might be listening to Prince. I might listen to Lil Wayne. I might listen to System of a Down. I might listen to Mac Miller. You know, I was at work the other day, and the property manager walks in, and I'm listening to Beethoven. So it's just kind of depends on whatever it is that kind of fits the mood, or fits whatever it is that kind of I'm gravitated towards at the time. Because music in general is just, it's a universal concept. You don't have to have the same understanding. You don't have to be from the same place. It's just like food, you know. Like you walk in somewhere and something smells nice. You don't even have to know what it is. Like, man, something smells nice, and you're going to gravitate towards that. And it's something that, regardless of anybody's background or anybody's way of life, it's a way for people to kind of bond and relate and to find some kind of understanding. So I'll make, probably right now, a lot of stuff I've made has been hip hop, rap kind of inspired, but some of it has R&B feel to it. Some of it has rock feel to it. I have a track that comes out that sounds like James Brown. So it just, you know, whatever kind of fits the mode. It's a way to express yourself, and you have a platform you can reach different people whenever you get a chance to, you know, depending on how you're addressing something and the way that you convey that message.
I say, I love your music, personally, of course. I say, you know, I'm always a big supporter. I say, and, you know, me and you, heck, we kind of clicked as soon as we met, you know.
Yeah, right off the bat.
It was during December, I want to say it was 2020? I think it was 2020 of December. We played in the basketball tournament.
Yep, it was.
In Delville. And I don't know, I forgot who our captain was, but I appreciate the opportunity, of course, to, you know, talk to you personally and getting to know you and doing all that stuff, man. It's been super dope. Always been one of my closer guys that I talk to. I had to get you on the podcast so that we could promote you, because, you know, it's about helping each other in this community around here. And that's how we was actually. I called you 2 nights ago, and we had a long conversation on that. You know, we got to promote each other, like the small businesses to, you know, from you performing. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's all love around here. You know, especially because like we call all our people who watch this the family. So, you know, getting everybody out here and including the family is the plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's like I was speaking with your brother earlier before you got a chance to join on. And beforehand, I like to kind of understand some things before I kind of jump into it. So I watched like your episodes 3 and episodes 2 and gathering the way that those kind of progressed and a couple of things that were discussed. And, man, episode 3 was really dope. The men's health and mental health. And I thought it was really cool the things that you all touched on, and you all sharing your experiences that you have with it or have had with it, and the day-to-day that you go with. And something that kind of caught my attention in the process of that podcast was near the end of it is whenever you all make mention that you add that it's not just men's mental health. You mentioned that it's women's mental health as well, which that is true and that is important to have and to see. But it also kind of speaks to, even as a man, our understanding, and I'm just like a while ago when I mentioned about making sure the lady model feels safe, is that even in situations where they aren't included, we feel gravitated and led to make sure that we make mention of them regardless of kind of where we stand at, and regardless of if it's a a complete men's thing, but that's largely because of one, our understanding of their importance, but also because of understanding our role and making sure that we include them into the things that we discuss. So that's also a difference between a man versus other. Like, and not saying other is like the crowd or like in the derogatory sense, but like as a man, because you hear a lot of times people kind of give us a title or they give us a representation that may not represent exactly what a man is per se, but just like our people before us and other peoples and group of people, where there are certain rites of passage that you had to get before you earned whatever title you were trying to get. With college, you have to go through courses in order for you to get your degree, and the same thing is with anything else in life. You have certain things that you have to go trial by fire in a sense in order for you to get to that point. And the same thing is true for being a man or a woman, because understanding that our role as the protector, the nurturer, the supplier, because we do fit a lot of these things, and oftentimes they don't quite see the man as the nurturer until it comes down to our kids. When it comes down to our kids, you see a lot more of that nurturing role for us, because aside from that, we feel more of a leadership or provider or protector role. So we have that face on more often than we have that nurturing face.
I'm glad that you brought up, the female aspect of everything, because, I actually saw on Facebook today, when I was looking, I believe we have 56% of our viewers are females, and that would be 43% are males. So we actually do have a more dominant female viewership than anything else. What you checking here no for?
It's 44%.
It's not. There's like point. So I'm correct.
But yeah, that definitely makes sense, and this could be for a handful of reasons. But it's also because you got to think, guys, we are, especially when we're in our lane and we're focused, we don't have as much outside noise that's messing up our lane. Even if you look at social media or advertisements and things like that, they're very often geared towards more the female or the lady populace. And I keep saying lady versus female because I read something the other day, because I always like to practice good habits and etiquettes and political correctness, I guess you say. But somebody had said that whenever somebody, a guy or male, uses the term female, that we want to just call them a bitch or something. But, and excuse my language, but I just say that because that's the way that they, it was presented inside of this lady's comment. But I don't think, personally, I don't ever use it for that purpose. If I say female, it's just because I'm trying to use it in a respectful way, because I don't want to call you woman. I don't want to call you, I'll call you lady, or ladies, but I also don't want to, with all the other demographics and the types, I don't want to offend or disrespect anybody with the way that I may present or say something. So I try to say it in a way that is less harmful to somebody else's mental.
I say female because it's scientifically correct.
But the thing with that is a lot of, as much as it could be scientifically correct,
you're right. You're right.
You can't really dictate. You can't use logic all the time.
Correct.
Because once you put logic into something for so much, then it almost takes away the ability to feel. I posted this video the other day where this therapist was asking about how would you feel if a vehicle was racing towards you, and you were like in the middle of the road, and then she said that if your response was that you would get out of the way, you would dodge the vehicle, then it should probably be something inside of you that has made mention of you trying to logically explain the way that your feelings process instead of understanding your feelings. Like, I didn't ask you what you would do. I didn't ask you how you would solve the problem, which is hilarious because as a man, as a guy, our very nature of our fiber of being is to fix things. Like, if somebody comes to us with a problem, and I know you guys have to experience this, Jacob, you're married, John, I know you know how this goes. Like, if a lady comes up and she's listing off these problems, our thing that we're doing right away is we're figuring out how to solve it. We're problem solvers by nature. So And a lot of times that is not at all what they want. They do not care about fixing the problem right then. They just want you to listen. like just hear what I'm saying. Let me get this off my chest real quick, and then we can work on fixing it from there. But while I'm giving you this rundown, just shut up and listen. And it's really important too, even in those situations, because sometimes we need to not try to logically explain to why we feel the way we feel, because there probably is some kind of a reason why. There probably is some kind of underlying reason for why we process things the way we have. But at first, we have to not invalidate the way that we feel about certain things, all because of logically it doesn't make sense. Because there's a lot of things in life that logically don't make sense, but it just is.
No, you're well spoken again.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can't complain whenever you come in here and you just like kill us with the statements. Me and Sean are sitting here thinking like, "Yep, we're just gonna let you do all the talking. You want to run this podcast with us? No, we may need to use you all the time. The way you talk to
I think
everybody.
you're very intelligently spoken. You know,
I appreciate that. Like I said,
very smart guy.
I want to make sure that I've included each person's, or as many as possible, with the way that I can have the stance. Because, like I mentioned before, if you have the stance, what are you going to do with it? It's our test, and that's the understanding of how you make use of your stance. Because even people that are role models or that aren't, you don't intend to become that role model. You just happenstance into it, and then you see how certain people use it or they don't use it. And if they understand the stance that they take with the people that are watching them on a regular basis, as a father, as a brother, as whatever it may be, you know that there's some kind of eyes on you at all times. And oftentimes it's people you don't even know. So it's important to make sure that when you're doing something, it's a legitimate representation of yourself and how you really feel about things, and not how you feel that somebody should feel that you feel.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jacob.
Nah, I was actually gonna say. So you say you modeled, and how me and Sean, we had modeled for our mom when we were younger.
Yes.
And I have pictures on my Facebook, and like we're talking about a 130-pound soaking wet model over here, and now I'm 300, and it's like, yeah. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll continue. You know,
Yeah.
I guess my debut with my mom taking
Okay.
pictures. Oh, okay, go ahead. But yeah, I guess my debut with modeling with my mother would be. See, I got contacts for the first time, and I know that Jacob was modeling for her. You know, we were trying to kickstart her career as a photographer, and I think we did well. I mean, you know, she got some photos up, she got them posted, and then she got some shoots lined up, and then she took a break, and now I know that she's getting back into it, trying to set up some mini shoots and stuff like that. So I might have to go back and be a model again. Might have to
That's
get us
awesome.
all, yeah. But yeah, I get Jacob just really wanted to emphasize that we've modeled too, and just I think it's kind of funny.
No,
you know,
it's
it was
actually
nothing
really cool.
serious. Yeah.
And you say that, but it is because, and that's definitely something that people I think kind of lose sight of, is that regardless of what level it is that you are, your interest or something you're doing, it doesn't take away the value or the importance of it. Just like with people that have any form of art, just because maybe you just draw to yourself and you keep that to yourself. Maybe you draw and you show it to people that are close to you. Maybe you promote it. Maybe you are a big name artist. It doesn't mean that you're any less of an artist than the next person. And the same thing is with like with modeling. You know, you would be surprised at the confidence boost that it gives people when they can model and then they see the results from the work that they have with it, because people like to see the fruits of their labor, you know, whether it be from physical labor, whether anything that they're involved in. Like anybody that does any kind of carpentry or any kind of physical labor, especially a dad. You go and you ride with a dad where they're riding by some buildings and they're like, I built that, I built that, I cut
Right.
that. Like it's every time, because it gives you a sense of pride and it gives you a sense of value. You know, you have added value into the stance that you have taken inside of your community and the people in it that you have the immediate effect on. So it is something to where it wasn't like a huge type of model thing. You weren't in vogue or GQ or anything like that, and I've never been there either. I would love to get there at some point, but um, it definitely isn't something that is necessarily less valuable, especially because like you look at how you affect your mom. Because of that, that helped your mom build her confidence. If nothing else, it helped you all build your confidence. It helped to get a chance to show other people, maybe if they don't feel as perfect mentally as they feel that they should, they can also come and do this. Because most of the people that I know that as far as photographers and the people that they get pictures and do shoots and stuff with, they're average people. They're just normal people, you know. Like there's not like they're these Tyra Banks walking around or Beyonce's, and it's funny because even like with Beyonce, you know, Beyonce by like standard as far as runway models, she doesn't fit your classic runway model style. Like she has big thighs, she has big legs, she very bust like she has a real big like bust size. Like she just is different than your classic model. You see how politically correct that was? But
I want to keep hearing it. Keep going. That's my type.
Right? But no, like for real, it's just it's a different idea of what we may think is perfect. Even if you look at your typical idea or understanding of what your man or woman or whatever may be, because people used to think that women had to look one way, and then it shifted to this Kim Kardashian, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj body type, and it always is shifting and varying. And if you look out through human existence, our understanding of what a lady should look like has changed. It is not the same as what it had been from one time to the next. You look at people that were in like African cultures and places like that for the longest time. They'd want a heavier set lady because it showed that she was healthy and came from a family of wealth. It's so wild how you look at the way that the standard for what we think is supposed to be the archetype, the meta, has always changed, and it shows you that you should just be comfortable in your own skin, because one, your time is going to come, and if it doesn't, you're in your skin and nobody else is. So as far as like you all modeling, you all getting the chance to do it with your mom, those are memories you still have. Obviously, it had an impact on both your mom and on the two of you. So nothing to be taken away from that.
Yeah, I kind of want to run with what you're saying there. I'm just going to bring up like another public figure. Lizzo. So Lizzo, the internet's an awful place, right? But everyone hates on her because she's big-bodied, but she's blowing up. She's popular. I mean, why wouldn't she be? Lizzo is funny. She's talented musically, and obviously she has a great sense of humor. That sense of humor lets her take in what those haters are saying and just turn it into something amazing. It could be song, music video, or just her making internet videos, like her on TikTok. She is so funny on there. Really just a great soul. And, with her big body, she expresses that, and she lives with it. And I think it's a beautiful thing, honestly.
For sure. And you see a lot of people, like even other artists, like Fat Joe, Rick Ross, especially Rick Ross. You'll see this guy, he'll have his shirt off all the time. Like he will most definitely go ahead and he'll be out at a concert or something. That man will have his shirt off going crazy. Fat Joe was the same way. He'd have his shirt off going crazy. And you even look at comedians. Some of your favorite comedians aren't your physical, like your meta of a ideal build. Like Cat Williams, super tiny. Kevin Hart, obviously super tiny. Like Seth Rogen, he's 100% dad bod. Like nothing about this guy.
Let's not forget the most important guy, Bert Kreischer.
Right, like
the machine. And if you watch his podcast, I know we're on a podcast, and we talk about promoting people. Dude, that dude's two bears, one cave, I think it is. It is so funny. The dude wakes up in the morning, and he has a gallon jug. I remember watching his podcast. He has a gallon jug, and he's like, "You drinking water this early in the morning?" He goes, Nah, it's Kool-Aid. He had a gallon jug of fruit punch Kool-Aid. I
That made
promise
good sense.
you. Funniest dude I've ever seen.
Dude, I think you're on missing one, dude. A comedian, big, fluffy man.
Oh man,
we can't forget about
we gotta
Fluffy.
love
You can't forget Fluffy.
That's the
So-
GOAT. He's one of the greatest. I will admit.
Even the term fluffy, people were
Right.
not using it like that until he started using it like that.
Right.
Dude, like there's
Definitely.
plenty of people that have even like your quote unquote disabilities or your differences. I won't even say disabilities, but your differences between the next person. A lot of people have taken those things and used those in a way to propel themselves. And a lot of times in life is how does something affect you, and do you allow it to motivate you or do you allow it to drown you? Like fear is a great example of that. Fear can be your greatest motivator and it can be crippling. It's just different people use it to fuel them in different ways.
Right, absolutely. I say you say disability or differences, and there's this comedian that I watched. He has a stutter, bad stutter, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Are you talking about the dude from America's Got Talent?
Yes, that dude is
Yeah.
hilarious, man. And I think now he's running like tours everywhere. Like he
Yeah.
built off his comedy from his differences.
That's
Like
awesome.
you said, differences, not disabilities. I kind of agree with that, because disability means you're disabled. These
Yeah.
people ain't disabled, man. We got
Man, I've
people
seen-
out here who are geniuses who has a disability, and it's just I like differences. That I'm gonna start using that term because disability means you're disabled. You can't do nothing. Which I know a lot of people who are geniuses, man. I mean, just
Yes.
smart, and I mean,
Yes.
that's a good term. I like that term a lot.
I appreciate that, man. Like you look at people, especially people like with autism or things like that, and those are some of the smartest individuals we'll ever meet, and their memory
Absolutely.
is beyond pristine. Like
Absolutely.
you can't change up with them. They know, dude. Like they can recall it. It doesn't matter how long ago it is. Like it's fresh to them, and like I said, it's not at all something where somebody has to feel less of themselves or they feel that they have a handicap in a sense. It's just the way that they approach it is going to be different from the way that somebody else might approach it. Like a left-handed pitcher in baseball isn't looked at to have a disability versus the right-handed pitcher. They can look at them and they can say, well, they may have this advantage or disadvantages, but there's also advantages on the other side. And the same thing is true in boxing with southpaw versus the other. So it really just how people are able to adapt, and that's a big part of the human existence to begin with is our ability to adapt to situations and hardships.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't even know what to say, dude.
He got you speechless, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
I told you he's very well spoken. I had told Sean, I said, I got a good guy. I said, he's probably one of the best well spoken people we got. And he's like, for real, what's his name? I said, James. He's one of my good buddies. And I said, I promise you it's going to be worth it, especially this podcast, because he's going to hit us with information we ain't never heard of. And he was like, all right, let's try it. I said, all right. That's all I need to do here. So
I really appreciate that. Man.
I said, and listen to everyone who's listening, watching, because we know y'all do both. You put it on the background while you cleaning your house. We appreciate all the views, of course. But if y'all have a chance to look up this guy's music, I mean, this guy himself needs to do a podcast because he is probably one of the greatest well-spoken people we have around here, this area. You're down south. You ain't gonna get a lot of well-spoken people. I mean, you're gonna get a lot of hey y'all and this and that, But I mean, it's the
you might be
truth.
surprised, man. Like I've met some very, just great individuals, man, and that's like, and I know we have mentioned it before as far as like take the time to be a father is what you had mentioned earlier, and somebody, and you hear a lot about people talk about deadbeat dads and people that aren't present or absent fathers or whatever the case may be, but I know a lot more great dads than I know not, and it's not to say that there aren't people that aren't falling short, that aren't people that aren't living up to maybe the best that they can do. But one, I haven't always been a great father. Like it took me time to learn and develop into being a better father. but a trying father is better than a non-existent one. And a lot of existence in general is so much of learning as you go, and if, like you're talking about me being as spoken as I am and the way that I speak is a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of understanding things or saying things and being corrected and being able to be corrected. And even if it's not right there in that moment, to be able to look and say, okay, they had something here. Maybe there was a reason I felt the way I felt. Maybe the reason I thought the way I thought. And if you look at the presence of the male role model or the man in the household, it's such a significant piece, and it's been so much so that it's been both something that people have longed for to be in the house and have attempted to replace or remove. And you talk to a lady from the generation before us, and that was a large part of where the whole "I don't need no man" kind of concept came out. And a lot of those ladies will tell you they thought that, but it was not the case. And that's not to say that a lady is incapable of doing things on her own. That is not the statement. What I'm saying is that a child needs both the man and the woman to get here. So in order to continue on that journey, it's probably just as significant for that child to have it. And if you talk to any professionals that work with children, especially children that are in any kind of like homes or anything like that, they will say that the main thing that you see as far as a common trend between problematic or hurting children is the lack or the absence of the male role model inside of that child's life. So it's where we a lot of times can think and say that maybe we can see where people are devaluing the role that we have in society. We can see and hear where people think less of us because of how somebody else has made them think or feel or portrayed the way that we are. It is far from the case, and that any father that may feel that, or any person that may feel that, the time that it would take to work on themselves, and maybe even the criticism they receive that isn't 100% deserved, processing the parts, the little areas of yourself that you can work on or to better in order to continue to show that improvement on yourself. Because once you see enough improvement in yourself, eventually somebody else will notice it. And if they don't, then that's just because they're trying to keep you at a point in your life that you are grown past. So in order to continue to help our community and help better our community, I would push, encourage, and like to see, like more representation for like the I won't say like the quote unquote good guy, but like the man, like the classic man, whether it be a protector, a nurturer, provider, stepping up to the role that you have to necessarily feel, and responsibility, not your willingness to respond, but your ability to respond. Because there's a lot of guys out here playing father for that aren't necessarily their kids. There's a lot of guys out here being father to kids that are no relation to them at all, and they just see these kids and they need some kind of guidance, help, or some kind of reinforcement, and naturally step into that role. And it's really awesome to see. So
Absolutely,
big
I
ups to
agree.
the men and the fathers.
I say I know a lot of people who are stepdads, but they're more real dads than their actual dads, if that makes sense. I say it's more like if you could step up to that plate and you know those ain't your kids and you ain't got nothing going on for your life, it's just you, and you step up and play dad, bro. All hats off to you.
Yeah,
And that's the same way with the mamas out here, the stepmamas. The same way. We can't forget about the women, of course. A shout out to the women who watch and support us. But y'all stepping up and being a mom to those kids, helping that dad out. It's huge too. And I know we had talked 2 days ago. I had called you for I think it was an hour. It was close to it, man. We just sat on the phone. We had a great conversation. And you say, take time to be a father. And we haven't spoke on it here. We did before we started recording. But, you take a time to go into your kitchen and dance with your daughter. Yeah, I remember stuff, man. I could keep it up here. Dude, that's just huge, I was dancing with my kid in the car today. We were at my little baby's appointment this morning, and she said, Daddy, I want to dance. I said, all right, let's dance. So, of course, she's dancing around the back seat, and I'm just holding her hand. But it's the little things, man. our dad, Sean and I's, he would take time and we would go hunting. We would, dove hunt. We would go fishing. He would always try to find something to do, and he always took time to be a dad. And we appreciate him for that. Or if we wasn't doing anything, he had to go to work, so he'd take us. Now, don't get us wrong. We'll screw something up. Sean and I were terrible workers. We were so bad. We could not hold the flashlight correctly. And he said, just point it this way. And we would point it that way, So we appreciate our dad. And, we love him to death. We know he watches the podcast. We know it because he had one episode he couldn't listen to. And I was like, we want to say love you, Dad. We appreciate everything you've done for us. And, of course, our mom. You can't forget about her because, Lord forbid us, she's probably our biggest supporter, man. And we appreciate everything she's done.
Nobody ever loved you like Mom.
Absolutely.
Nobody loved you like Mom.
And we love her to
somebody
death.
say one time that, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, you're good. You're good. Keep going, Bubba.
Like, your mom is the first person in your life that loves you for your benefit. Like, she loves you for what you can gain from it. Where a lot of people that you meet after that love you or attempt to love you for what they can benefit from it. And the same thing is true for, like, fathers, because a father, I feel like our labor pain does not come like a lady's, where she goes through the physical labor and the physical caring of the baby and the things that come with that, but the afterbirth, the process of the mom being pregnant, the being there for her and getting a chance to watch that progression, and then the kid having to understand how to let go of certain situations or when it is to be more stern versus not, and having a little girl, I know you can relate. Like, it's a whole different ball game. Like, getting a chance to do things that maybe you otherwise never would have done. Like me doing my daughter's cheer routines in the kitchen with her because she wants me to, or she just wants me to sit down for a spa day, which is her basically covering me in the face mask and makeup. Like, no one would like decide, this is what I want to do when I grow up. But it's one of those things too, to where it's important because you're making time for them. You're showing support in their interests. And just like my daughter, she does cheer now, she does gymnastics, she's played soccer, and each time I want to support and be behind her in each thing, not so much because that's what I specifically want her to do. I want her to understand that whatever she decides to do, that she will have me to support her. So it doesn't matter if she decides she wants to do this, if she wants to do that, like whatever direction that her life grows and she develops into, she's going to always have me there as that rock and like the support system. Because the same thing, they go back with the father. Like, people look at a father and they'll say, well, he's this, or a mother too, she's this. But if an acorn was to know that it was going to be the tree that it grows into once it finally reaches maturity, it would never believe you. So it's important to understand that where you may see this acorn where it's at, you don't know what exactly it can become after. So
well spoken again. I say Sean, I think, is just in awe over there. He's just.
I mean, I am, but I mean, I think it's so funny that he says that, because I believe it was the first or second episode we hit on things like that, where no matter what our kids are going to do, Jacob and I, we're going to support them. We're going to make sure that they do those things, or what they want to do. We're not going to force them into what they don't, and we're just going to back up what they want.
We have a good dad story about that one.
Go ahead.
You want to say it, or do you want me to?
No, you got it.
All right, so our dad, he always, and I promise you, he always wanted us to do baseball. So in high school, I think it was 7th grade or 8th grade, I was terrified. There was a guy named Jordan, and he threw the ball like 90 miles an hour, and I'm 7th grade, and we had to play against him. And the dude was like, I think 2 years older than me, I think. So he was about the same league as I was, and he's throwing 90, close to it. And I might be pushing it a little bit. He could have been throwing 80, but at 7th grade, you were like, no. So I didn't play. I tried out for basketball, and I didn't make the basketball team. And my dad was like, "Don't get down on yourself. You know, we'll try out for baseball next year. Jordan be in a different league." So I did, and I made the team. But I tried out for basketball, and he had to transfer that I did not enjoy baseball as much as I did when I was a kid. So he actually took time to learn basketball, so that way he could be there to support us and understand what was going on.
Yeah.
Like my mom, she was a hooper. Now I don't know if she hooped. She might have sat in the bench, but Dad never played. He was in the band, so it was just he took time to learn basketball, so that way we can feel loved and supported. And that was my main sport. I played baseball, and I played it because I enjoyed it, but I loved the game of basketball.
Hart was in basketball.
And I stuck to it, and I'm still a nice little hooper here and there. I kind of retired a little bit after having 2 kids, but I'll still give people the work.
That's right.
Sean especially, he talks a lot.
I do talk a lot, but I get in his head. It doesn't work out
That's
for
part
him.
of the game.
But yeah, man, I say, we talk about basketball and everything. What do you do? What was your go-to?
Man, so I was big into the band. Band, I did that for a long time, all the way through high school, middle school. Basketball, funny basketball story actually. So, 8th grade year, going to 8th grade year. I was wanting to play basketball. I thought I had decided I was going to play because I had always hooped with the homies. We'd be in the yard hooping, and I finally decided I was going to go play. So then I went to the coach's office at break because that's when you had to go pick up the floor and play basketball. And the coach goes, "You're going to play basketball?" And I was like, "Well, I guess not." Just walk out the room, And then I come back like my sophomore year, and I had made up my mind. I was like, I'm going to play. I want to play. And I worked hard that year. I ran every day. I literally was just getting right to play. And senior year comes around, I walk on, and I got picked up. I got on the team, and I heard a lot of different stuff as it transitioned. Oh well, you won't get the team. I made a team. So we won't get a chance to play. I was playing. You won't get a chance to start. I started starting some games and went on to ESDC. I played some over there with Wesley and Chuck Person when they were over there, and under Jermaine when he was coaching over there, I played some over there with him. So it was really cool to kind of get a chance to not just apply myself, but apply myself and to see some results from what other people may have looked at me and said wasn't possible. And where you may even yourself may get into your head to think, I can't do this. It's important to not just try, but apply your level of 100%. Because if you try 100% and it doesn't work out, okay, you tried your best. But there's nothing worse. Hold on. But it's nothing worse than going and saying you tried and you're not giving your best and then not working out, and you're like, man, I had something left in the tank. I would have rather laid it out there than to, not. But yeah, basketball was my playing sport. As I've gotten older, I really kind of wish I played football some, man. I'm a big fan of football. Now I am, at least. I like the game. I like the competitive nature of it. Athletes are modern day gladiators. When you really look at these guys and ladies and people, they're legitimate, Greek Adonises, and these are figures and people. For real, you look at somebody like Michael Phelps. That dude doesn't look human. His ability is inhuman. You look at for real, dude. These people don't seem normal. Usain Bolt.
I could say I'm probably the biggest LeBron James hater. Not gonna lie to you, I can't stand him.
You know what?
But I'm a
that will
Heat
probably
fan.
be a challenge for that.
I'm a Heat fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's in my nature. I can't stand him. He got us championship, but dude is 30, 38, I think it was,
He's
or something
38.
like that. He's 38 years old, and he is built like a Greek god.
And the dude averages, think of this, he's 38, he just averaged 30 points a game. 30
Yeah.
minutes a game.
Like
Find me your favorite athlete. Go ahead. Find me your favorite player. I don't care the sport.
You
Show
want
me
to
what they were doing at the age of 38.
Dwayne Wade? I don't know. He probably retired.
What was no? He for sure was retired. But I'm just saying, show me another athlete at the age of 38.
Dropping 30 points per game.
Yeah, but not even just on the right now, and it's kind of disrespectful. I think they have him ranked at number 6 on the NBA's ranking list. But even with that, let's just leave him there. Show me another athlete that plays at this kind of a physically demanding league that is doing that, other than like Tom Brady, which I think Tom Brady, he's definitely fallen off at this point, but he probably should stay retired.
I'm saying that
Probably
because
should
there's a
stay
person who's a huge Tom Brady fan.
Screw
Tom Brady.
I used to hate Tom Brady, but it was only because of how perfect this man was. Like, this man went like 2 seasons without throwing an interception. This dude was a freak. Like, it's like I said, like, these people are like absolute gladiators. These people have achieved the level of ability that the most common person will only imagine. Like, the greatest thing you can do to get close to this is to sit at home on the couch and criticize how this person should have done this at a single split-second decision.
Tom Brady is like, what, 40, I think?
Like, yeah.
I want to say he's 40.
40.
What was he doing 2 years ago? I think he won a championship.
He was balling.
I want to say he won a championship. At 38 years old, I want to say he won a Super Bowl.
Said, though,
I mean, he won it last year. Yeah.
Did he?
Oh, not last year. Not last year.
No. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Rams
won.
won. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
But I'm saying, at 38 years old, just to win a Super Bowl, and that's a pretty big sport too. Now, I don't want a 300-pound man hitting me in the back. You know what I mean?
But this is the thing. This is the only thing with football. Is in football, you have 10 other guys to lean on.
That's a good point.
Where you look at somebody like Tom Brady, he gets the ball pretty quick, usually about 3 seconds to release time for him throwing the ball. Right up under 3 seconds is usually the clock that you have in your head for him. And you look at the linemen he has, they're normally pretty nice. Like, his guards and his tackles are pretty good. And he always has a tight end that can block a run, or rock a blitzer. Always. That's the thing about, like, Gronk. That's the thing about, like, the other running backs that he's had to play for him. He's had some kind of protection, and some kind of Danny Amendola. God, what's the name of the other wideout that he had?
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman. Like, he had some people like that he can count on. Like, these people were go-to guys that he can get the rock to.
Okay, but we can say the same about LeBron.
You can.
Yes, we can.
You know the reason we can have this conversation, but I personally used to hate LeBron James. I did. I hated LeBron. Could not stand. I'm a Celtics fan. Hated LeBron James. But when you really look at this man and you understand not just the body of work, but what he's been asked to do, think about this. You are a kid, and you're coming out of high school. One, he's the most advertised high school athlete of all time. You've never seen a kid be more publicized than this kid. You have athletes we talked about now, but nobody to the level of LeBron. Like, this dude was coined as the chosen one. He was looked at from, like, as a young age to be the guy that's going to come in here and contest Michael Jordan. And not only did he have all this expectation, he's lived up. He's so great to where when you mention Michael Jordan's name, the only person's name you immediately mention with it is LeBron James.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's not even to say that he surpassed Mike. I'm going to leave that up to whoever feeling however they want to feel. But the fact is that you still have to put his name into that conversation every time. And not only put his name there, but feel the need to argue your point. Think about that. Name another player that you have to actually argue why Mike is better than. Because most people, you can just say, oh, Mike is better, and that's the end of the conversation. Where you look at somebody like LeBron, you have to genuinely support why you say that. And on top of that, LeBron comes to a Cleveland team that was the absence of a front office. Name me 2 players on that Cleveland Cavaliers team when he was drafted to that team.
That center Savakias or whatever
There
it is.
it is. That's my point. Okay, so you also let's look at what Cleveland did once LeBron left Cleveland the first time. Okay, when he went to Miami, they went from winning, I think it was like 40, 50 something games to winning like 12. like absolutely trash. When Mike
We're gonna have to get off my heat. All right.
When Mike left the Bulls, Mike's team, that Bulls team, only lost like 6 or 7 more games.
We're going. All right. First off,
And it's not that
jump off the heat. All right.
I'm not even ragging the Heat yet. I'm not even ragging the Heat. But you look at somebody. Okay, so the thing about LeBron going to the Cleveland Cavaliers, he wanted Cleveland to win a championship. He knew he needed to win a title there. So he knew that his front office was absolute trashy. He knew that he needed players. So what would you do if you know you need to learn how to run a front office? You're going to go to somebody that knows how to do that. Pat Riley is one of the greatest all time at doing that. He goes to Miami, gets a couple of guys with him down there, and the guys that he gets with him. Chris Bosh was not the Chris Bosh that he was in Toronto. So much so that once LeBron left there, Chris Bosh had to retire because he was literally dying. He was literally unable to play the game because the doctor said his body will not allow him. If you watch this man when he played, and that's another thing with LeBron. LeBron will get productivity out of players that otherwise should have no chance to do so. No, what was Mike Bibby doing after he left playing with LeBron? What was that point guard Cole?
Anthony.
What was he doing when LeBron left the Heat?
Or Norris Cole.
Yeah, like what
Yeah.
what were any of these? Chris Birdman Anderson, what was he doing once LeBron left the Heat? Like I could go through the list. Like this, you could look at these players that otherwise, you can even say Kyrie. Honestly, Kyrie does have some nice flashes, but he does not have the consistent level of greatness that he had, like what he did at Cleveland. Because one thing about LeBron is he is going to make sure that he can get these players to play at a level that maybe otherwise they won't show it. And he plays at a level to where he's not afraid of not having to be the big chief, which is one thing that I think a lot of people hate about him. Like with Kobe he was that dog. If Michael Jordan had been reincarnated, Kobe was it. Like Kobe is a absolute reenactment, a physical embodiment of what Jordan was. The mindset, the way he played, which I think is what hinders Kobe in the conversation the greatest all time, is because he literally was just Mike 2.0, really. It wasn't so much of him not being great, because he's got to be like a top 5. Like Kobe's great. Like he's a great player. But it's just he does something that we've already seen before in his own refined way. LeBron came up and he created a whole position. Like when he started playing, people started coining the term point forward. Like no one said that before LeBron started playing that like he plays, and the dude would come up the court and start passing the rock, and people didn't think players should be able to play the way that like positionless basketball until LeBron started doing what he does. So he's affected and changed the league. A lot of people talk about like the way he's jumped teams and stuff, but he really wasn't jumping teams. When LeBron changed teams, it was to learn something, and each time it was for some other reason. When he went down to Miami, it was so he could learn how to run a front office and how to manage a team. And then when he went back to Cleveland and showed so much, there's a point where their coach was out for 8-game stretch, and they won like 9 games. He was out for 9 games, and they won 8 of those 9 games. And they weren't playing scrubs. They were playing top teams in the league, and they were winning these games with LeBron being the coach and the floor general. And another thing with LeBron is that he's the only player in NBA history that when asked at the end of a game if you need an assist, he's the one you expect to get an assist. When you're asked to get a block, he's the guy you expect to get the block. When you're asked for the shot, you expect for him to have the shot. Like literally, whatever position or whatever play is needed, you genuinely expect this man to play it. Where Mike, if there was a rebound that you need, if you need a rebound at the end of the game, you never thought, oh man, Mike needs to get this rebound. Like you always thought, okay, well, Robin will get this rebound, or Robin will make that. Like
Greatest.
Or if you think that, oh well, at the end of the game we really need a nice assist, you're not thinking, oh, Mike's going to give me a really nice assist right here. it's not a thing. Like it's not to take away from him. It's just that the standard that is held for LeBron, even right now, bro. The fact that to even have to defend a 38-year-old senior citizen in the NBA. It's wild.
I said we could talk about sports forever, but we did tell Mom we wouldn't get on sports as much. We did promise that. I said she did say, just don't be like the other people and do on sports.
We'll definitely like get you
We're
back
gonna
on
do-
again and do all sports. Like
yeah.
people are going to hate that podcast, but it's for those people. You know.
I said we have people who definitely listen to sports podcasts. And speaking of sports podcasts, I do want to shout out the Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey, the brothers that play in the NFL together. They have a podcast and they're hilarious. They talk about nothing but sports. So if y'all want to listen to some sports, there's 2 NFL linemen who literally talk about football, and they're like they shouted out LeBron James. You know what I mean? And like they were talking about how hard he hits, man. I would shout out. I like shouting out other podcasts. You know, they're well known, but it's just we're little, man. I mean, shouting somebody out, maybe one day they'll pop up somehow. That's how the government works.
Also has a really dope podcast.
There we go. See, I'll say NBA talk. There's a professional NBA player right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and we would always love to get somebody like that on. Just if anyone's listening that's famous, hit us up.
Also, I want to go ahead and do you have YouTube or Facebook to plug?
Yeah, I got YouTube wise. I don't have my own specific channel right now. I really do more of like link with me for my stuff. I'm really working on doing outside of the distribution stuff, just because you get a cut of your royalties and so much comes off, which you're always going to end up paying somebody in a lot of situations, but you try to retain as much as you can in-house. But you can find my stuff on YouTube. I have 2 songs out on YouTube. I'm dropping one for pre-release this week. Tomorrow, the song that I'm putting for pre-release tomorrow is going to be called CKK. It's going to come out October the 25th. And CKK stands for Cultural Kit Kat. I write a lot of like metaphors and punchlines and wordplay and underlined meanings to things. So like it's really cool, like double, triple entendre type of stuff inside of that track. So it's really cool. But you can find my stuff if you go to like YouTube. There's a track called Red Carpet, and the artist name is just you, the letter U, and another track called Go Negus, Negus, and also the artist just put in the letter U. You can find it there. IG is u.createyourstory, and Facebook you can find me under James Hart, or you create your story as well. So
Hart is HART, not.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely leave your links when I post it. I'll leave your links in there so they can find it easier. Yeah.
I say I think we hit this hour mark. We're kind of keeping it an hour an episode, and we're definitely getting you back on because I know we have way more to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'd love to be back. I appreciate the invite. Thanks for you all having me. It's been awesome.
Yeah, dude.
We always knew that from the start of us discussing this and talking about it, it was going to be a great time, and
I enjoyed it,
man.
That was definitely one of the better hours we've had. I say, and it's been dope.
There's no awkward pauses like we just had there, but it's full of information. That's what we need to get at. It's what we need to attract people to.
Good.
I say, we're definitely gonna post this. Once we post it, of course, y'all give us a shout out. If you want James back on, let us know. Like we say after every episode, if you have any complaints, holler at us. Let us know. We have a WhatsApp in our account. Just hit us up and let us know what's going on. If you think you want to be on the podcast, we're always available. We're always down to get your story out there. That's one thing I'm always down for. Promoting yourself. If you want to promote yourself, come hit us up. Just let us know what's going on and leave us a feedback.
Yep.
Also, too, I'd like to make one last little mention before this is kind of closed out.
Go ahead.
I'm in the process of starting a men's health and support group, and the whole idea is to help strengthen and repurpose the value and the stance of the male figure inside of society and inside of ourselves. Because as we mentioned before, sometimes that we lose sight of our value, especially when we talk about depression or things like that may plague or a man be faced with throughout the day-to-day basis. And even having this support group, how you all mentioned actually on the third episode about how men need to have men around them, and how oftentimes whenever you progress through life and you get into certain parts of it, you have the absence of that part of your life. And it's very important to have, that kind of support cast and people that can help show you and help repurpose you and to refresh your purpose amongst just yourself and the people that you deem important in your life, whether it be through learning different skills, learning new trades, learning how to manage or handle different situations, just having some kind of place to where you feel not only heard but valued, and something that you can refine yourself to grow and better yourself, so that we can not just alter but improve the way that we affect and that we impact our community.
I say I'm definitely excited for that. I can't wait for that invite to that group. I say me and James already talked about that. I'm joining, so of course that's also another way to get a hold of me. Me and James, we're going to start working closer together, promoting each other up. Because that's my brother. You know what I mean? And like I told him 2 nights ago, I said it's bigger than black and white.
Yeah, always, man.
That's it.
Always.
So it's all love around here.
Yeah, I'm glad to finally meet you. I know we've been texting a lot in that group chat recently, but yeah, I'm glad Jacob introduced us. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think we're all wrap it up. Let's give a round of applause for James joining us today. All right.
Sean wanted to test it out.
I wanted to so bad. All right.
Oh man, great. So of course, thank you for listening. Like I said, leave us some feedback. Let us know what we could have done better. Y'all go show some love to James. I know James showing love to us. So y'all go. We have hundreds of viewers already. Y'all go show some love to him. I'm sure you would love his music because I love it. I know people, and if you want to see some of his modeling, he posted his IG. He shouted it out. Sean's gonna post it, of course. Leave a link to it. Y'all go show that man some love. The dude can model, and hey, it's the truth, man. It's the truth. I
saw his
y'all go
profile
show
picture.
some love to him, man. He's super dope guy. So y'all go show love. Of course, welcome to the family. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Do you want to say anything else, Sean?
I'm good. How you,
Awesome.
James?
Nah, bro, I just appreciate it. Thank you all for your time, and thanks for involving me and making me a part of it, man. It's great to be part of the family.
Yeah, I'm glad you joined us, man. We're looking forward to having you back sometime soon. Obviously, it's got to happen. There's got to be a part 2, 3, 4. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. For sure, we're going to make it a series, guys. Well, once again, thanks for listening. Leave us some feedback, and welcome to the family.
See you guys.